do you define quantum technology?
Yes, like a very big word.
Yes.
Quantum is more about physics. So we all have quantum, but it's beyond academia. So you don't make a quantum computer smarter. Even in class, you make the algorithm smarter.
Will leadership role be affected?
Leaders are very short-term focused. So leadership has always been based on one vision. So Finland invests in foreign talent to come and live in Finland for 100 days.
Hi everyone, welcome to Asia Business Owner Podcast, BOSS for short. With the changing economy, especially after pandemic, do you ever wonder why business lifespan is getting shorter? Do you ever wonder what causes it? Are you one of the business owners who are in the midst trying to figure a way out? Or are you intending to start your own business venture believing that everything will work out but somehow you feel something is missing? Or do you want to start a business however you do not know what to go for? If you have all these questions on the list that I mentioned earlier or many more that I have not mentioned, then we are here to fill the gap.
I am Joe.
And this is Ben. Before we start, we would like to encourage everyone to do us a free service by subscribing to our podcast, as we hope to bring more collaboration opportunities to many of our viewers or allow the knowledge and experience of our guests to be learned by many. Million thanks in advance for subscribing. In today's podcast, we will be talking about the next wave of trend in technology for the next 5 to 10 years, which Singapore government has set aside budget to develop in this field. Yes, some of you might have guessed it right. We are talking about quantum technology. We are honored to have Raghu, CEO of RAQS Consulting, to share with us what exactly quantum technology is all about and what can it do to make a difference soon. Hi Raghu, welcome to Able Podcast, and will you mind share a little bit about yourself?
Hey, thank you, Ben, and thank you, Joe, for having me here. It's an absolute pleasure to be on this podcast. And yeah, it will be very interesting to have a conversation with you guys and learn also about the future of technology together. Yeah. Let me start with a quick introduction about me so that even the audience can get a feel of it. Been in the industry for about 20 years, a mix of commercializing technologies. And I have worked in smartphones before smartphones was a thing. So I started working selling smartphones many years ago at Nokia, worked with Procter& and Gamble, Microsoft. So built my career there around the technology side. Tried a AI startup in 2014, worked on it for 2 years, but then could not survive. Would have been good if I would have continued on it on the AI startup for a few more years. But yeah, so then went back to corporate, built some cloud businesses, and then also on the healthcare side, worked for a few years. My entry into quantum computing happened in around 2020 when I joined a small startup at that time. Now it is going to get listed, one of the first European quantum companies to get public listed. So it's IQM Quantum Computers. So over the last 5 years, I helped them grow the business globally first and then expanding in Asia. And that's how I moved to Singapore. And now, yeah, I founded RAQS Quantum along with two other professors who are co-founders.
Very interesting.
Fantastic.
Yes, and we all know that quantum is going to be a big trend for the incoming years. And do I ask, how do you define quantum technology?
Yes, like a very big word.
Yes.
Yeah, it depends on how the audience is, right? At what level. Maybe if I simplify it, let's say quantum is more about physics, while engineering is more about mathematics. So it is, you can think of it from that way that everything around us, nature is quantum. You and I are quantum, made of quantum properties, quantum mechanics. So we all have quantum properties across around us. And yeah, that's how I define quantum. But maybe to simplify it even more, let's say in a engineering, like when we do compute right now, we either have a 0 or 1. So bits which are used on a classical chip is stored 0 or 1, and that's how you compute, and that's how we have all the CPUs, GPUs and everything. While a quantum QPU, again, it's not an exact analogy, but then QPU can be 0 and 1 at the same time. This is just for the audience to follow that instead of just putting 0 or 1, which is only one data point, here you can put two data points at the same time. So now let's assume that you need to do 10 million computation in a classical computer, which we use today. If you need to use 20 million, you will need to add that many transistors or gates to compute, like 2x. While in a quantum, because it does exponentially, because it stores 0 and 1 at the same time. Let's assume that 50 qubits can compute 10 million. Then if you want 20 million, you just need to add one more qubit, 51, and it will do 20 million. If you want 40 million, add one more qubit, it will become 80, 40, 80, and so on. So it exponentially increases the more qubits you had. So what does it help? So computation. So the computation speed can be much, much faster because the scale can be much more. So quantum, I would define it in these two ways to say that it's more from physics around nature, it's inspired from nature, but also in a way that maybe it stores 0 and 1 at the same time, to loosely explain it, which makes it exponentially faster.
Fantastic, Raghu. So what happens is that before this recording, right? I actually did some research on Claude co-work. It's like I just asked him to teach me quantum computing like I'm a 12 years old.
Okay.
And the first
And
example he
I
gave is the classical bit 0 and 1.
and I assume you have a better explanation than me then. Then let's hear your version of quantum, Joe.
I mean the entire I think essentially it's really about the power of computation, right? Yeah, using the what do you call it? Quick bit? Is it quick bit? Did I pronounce it correctly? Quad bit?
Qubit.
Qubit, yeah. So qubit then is like, wow, it really exponentially can increase the computing power.
Yes.
Right.
Although we actually did some research over it, and but to be honest, it's still quite a big question marks to ask, despite that you have quite a clear explanation earlier on. But the question is that have quantum technology been around for many years, or it just started?
It's been there for many years, yes. So some of the quantum properties has been used for years. What is happening is in quantum technologies, see, quantum computing is a cool part because computing, I can explain it to you, exponential speed, computation, we can have many use cases. It's very easy to understand. But quantum technologies also has other areas, which includes quantum sensing or quantum communication. So these things have been there for a long, long time. And people have been doing research on this for maybe, say, 6, 7 decades. So it's been there. Some examples could be in Singapore. I think the investments into quantum and research has been going on for about maybe 20, 25 years, somewhere around that time frame, early 2000s, when we started investing in Singapore. Finland, where I used to live earlier for a long time, Finland has started quantum research sometime around 1990s. So for about 30, 35 years. So there's been there. We also use a lot of these properties in NMR imaging and so on. So you do see it existing for a while. What has happened is it was always on the R&D side. It is equivalent to maybe say nuclear energy, nuclear fusion, or if I take another analogy of space travel. Like all of these things have been there for a long, long time in the R&D. What you're seeing now is it converting maybe from academia coming towards commercial side lot more? There's more scientific breakthroughs. For example, this year the Nobel Prize was awarded to a breakthrough in quantum. So you can see that there are many breakthroughs that are getting acknowledged, maybe that is pushing towards the limit of commercialization now, and that is why there's more interest. To answer your question, has it been there for a long time? Yeah, it's been there for a while, especially on the R&D side.
So do that mean that decade ago, probably even there is quantum technology, the world are not ready for it yet.
I
It's
agree.
probably more on the research and then trying to bring it into application, right?
And also the hardware was not ready. So it's like the quantum computers, still there's a lot of work happening. So still you do not have the most powerful quantum computer which can solve every problem there yet. It's not there. So there is still some work needs to be done on the quantum computing side, on the quantum hardware side. So I would say it's getting there. Maybe we are midway there to commercializing everything. But it's beyond academia. It's no longer a research R&D project where you just study this in university and forget. But it's more and more enterprises are starting to discuss quantum. Like great podcasts like you are having a conversation on quantum, which already shows that maybe it is on the verge of becoming mainstream commercial technology.
But this word sounds so high tech. That seems like it's only applicable to MNC instead of SME.
Not necessarily. I think
Yeah.
at least there are two discussions which I am having right now with two SMEs on saying how can they adopt quantum. Now,
Mm.
you're fair to say maybe for large enterprises, quantum is more reachable because large enterprises traditionally have been more R&D focused. They have a R&D budget, they have a chief innovation officer, they look at the horizons, they look at the scenario plannings. So they are bound to invest into new technologies before technologies become mainstream. While SMEs start to have the conversation, especially in quantum, because quantum also has this quantum security angle, where there are a lot of, and there is a, obviously, when there are powerful quantum computers, it can break the internet, the RSA algorithms, and so on. So I know a lot of crypto startups are starting to discuss, can a quantum computer break crypto? Again, can it, cannot, that's a different discussion. But there are startups that I talk to who are already considering quantum. There are many AI startups, the recent ones, who want to stand out from other competitors. So they are already talking about quantum AI and how they can adopt. So I would say, yes, majority enterprises are the ones who have this conversation or also investing in, but it is not to say that SMEs are not discussing. They are also having a conversation.
Interesting. Over here, when we take a look at the news, quantum technology have been used like in medical field, for example, to come up with new medication to cater for new virus. So something like that. So which means that quantum technology are more or less for solution based. Am I right to say that? And I did some discussion with a small group, and we did some also debate over AI. And according to the answer they given, well, seems like before AI, data is a lot. Is most everything. Data is like gather all information where you will know that okay what not to miss and what's the next step to go on. And AI come in plus data, which give another perspective in terms of solution. And right now, if we're going to add quantum AI with data together, then the whole thing will be using data and assessing tool by providing a new whole perspective for businesses. Is that what this technology is all about?
If you if you loosely, if you want to, without going into the specifics, so there's obviously much more to it, right? But then if
Mm.
you want to loosely explain it to you, a 12-year-old or a over a family dinner, I think I would subscribe to this kind of a definition, and I think it combines it really well. But maybe we just for the interest of the audience, right? You have a very smart audience here who
Mm.
listen in. So maybe for them, let's peel the onion a bit, the different layers. And there I would say the first one, which you said on the healthcare and the drug discovery. So that is one of the use cases which quantum promises to deliver on. Does it do it today? It does not, because the powerful quantum computers are still few years away. But people are working on the algorithms already today, on simulation and on algorithms, because whenever there is a powerful quantum computer, you would want to use it and you would want to find new drug discovery. Can quantum computers help us with drug discovery, precision medicine, personalized healthcare? Definitely yes. Is the healthcare industry the first, one of the early ones to get impacted with quantum? Definitely yes. Those two are factually correct statements. But the third one is, why is it so different? Like I already have the AI and so on. So why is a quantum computer so good at it? There the advantage is a quantum computer can take a lot more variables. Just think of it as a computer which is very powerful based on physics, based on quantum properties, but it can take a lot of variables and compute at a faster period, a faster time, which a current supercomputer is not able to do. Lot of variables, computation time faster, and deliver the results. So if you want to now put in a nitrogen with a carbon with something else, like a chemical formula, whatever it is for a drug discovery, that would make it easier because a quantum computer should be able to simulate a virus and should be able to give a result for the virus in terms of how the vaccine should be. This is what we also did with AI when we recently saw COVID and the coronavirus. Where many people use supercomputers to simulate a coronavirus and then find a drug discovery. Now, what if it can be done faster and not just for one virus, right? What if we do it for every virus in the world? And that a quantum computer is able to do faster.
So which means that in fact it's more precise as compared to the past technology.
I think that even the past technology, if you give it time, so maybe again, let's take another example. if you want to go point A to point B, you can go on a bike. Bike can take, let's say, 100 days to cover. You can have a faster. Maybe you can look at a car, which is AI. So the previous one was manual computing, point A to point B, using a bike. AI could be, just to give a loose example, it could be a Ferrari. You can go point A to point B maybe in 1 day's time. Artificial intelligence, very fast, it takes you from point A to point B 1 day. But maybe a quantum computer could be like the spacecraft, which can take you point A to point B within seconds. So you are covering the same distance, right? So if I give you unlimited resources, unlimited supercomputers and so on, I ask you to do the same things what a quantum computer can do. Maybe you can solve the same problem in 10,000 years of running a supercomputer. But neither you or me have 10,000 years in our lifetime to find that solution. A quantum computer can maybe do that in 10 minutes today. So that means it can do much, much faster, get a solution. The second way to look at it is, so is it incremental? Okay, Raghu, you gave the example A to B, A to B, A to B. So is it just faster? No, because in A to B, this example, the variables that you can looking at are very few. But what if I can bring in more variables? Like in drug discovery, I can say your temperature, your vitals, your mood, your stress levels, your BP. I add a lot of things. Your gut microbiome, I add your blood profile, everything. If I add all of them and still be able to give you precision medicine. So if I complicate things, then it is a quantum computer is even able to solve such problems. So it is faster, but it can also look at problems which we cannot solve with current
with
supercomputers.
more variables. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually refer to Claude again. Yeah. So the question is, what can quantum computers do? And then spot on, both of you nailed it. So one is drug discovery. So they stimulate molecules to cure diseases. The other one, it was the crypto that you mentioned about, break or make unbreakable codes. And then three other examples is like climate models, predict and fight climate change. And then materials, new materials, better batteries, chips. And then the fifth one is AI and logistics, finding the best route for a million trucks. So the million trucks is probably a lot of variables, right? So yeah, I think you nailed it. You explained it very clearly.
Okay, now let's take a look at the explanation is good, it's clear. But how does this applicable to small, medium enterprise in the application?
First, let me say that it's unfair that Joe is now testing me against a Claude or a Chat GPT here. So it's high pressure now. Usually it is like people listen, they go. I can see Joe now referring to each and everything that I'm speaking with a Claude. So I'll need to be even more careful, but glad that we have started off on the right note. So I still have you. Let me say how does it apply for small and medium enterprises. Uh, Simple things like the last example that Joe gave is a very good one. Optimization problems. Like we have so many problems where we just need to optimize. How do I go to point A to point B on a faster time? Right now, we all pick up our phones, GPS, navigation, go. So we rely on algorithms which are mainly based on, let's say, the GPS location of all the devices that are there. And if there are more number of devices in that road, then it becomes red on the map and we avoid it and we go through something else. That is just one variable, the GPS location. Now, what if I add, just imagine you're driving in Singapore from Marina Bay Sands to maybe Changi Airport. Common for most of us who are busy business travelers, right? So in this travel, instead of only GPS, I take one more example, which is your maybe driving style. The third one, then let's add one more variable, maybe your car condition. Maybe the fourth, let's add one more. How well as if you have slept in the night well, so how attentive are you? Number five, maybe the road condition, maybe it has been laid out new well. Maybe sixth, the wind condition. Maybe seventh, we add the tire condition. Eighth, you again add the car adjacent to you, how are they driving? Maybe ninth, add emergency vehicles. If you keep adding more variables like this, and if I can take you from Marina Bay Sands to Changi Airport instead of 20 minutes, which happens today, maybe I can find you a route which can take you in 15 minutes. It's a 25% saving. If each one of us can save 25%, then we are going to save so much on carbon emission and also on fuel and so on, which is a challenge current day as we speak and looking at the global scenario. So this is just one example. So you can optimize much, much better by putting more variables with a quantum computer. So now going back to how does a SME work on it? So there are few SMEs. So few areas are more advanced than others. For example, a cybersecurity SME, which delivers cybersecurity solutions to enterprises, they are looking at quantum encryption. So how do they create algorithms which are not broken by quantum systems? The other set of SMEs who are working on solutions, AI solutions for clients, are looking at this optimization. They already deliver a AI solution, but how do they keep themselves a step ahead of the competition? The third, SMEs who are niche in, let's say, satellite communication or maybe even new material discovery. So they are looking at, can I use a quantum computer to come up with a breakthrough material which is stronger than maybe say platinum or stronger than something else or an artificial diamond and so on. So depending on the SME, the sector that we are talking about, either it's AI, either it's new material, new energy, or anything else, they are already considering quantum. And how do they access quantum computers? There are cloud services available. So there are SaaS models. So quantum computers are very expensive. In my lifetime, I have sold a quantum computer which is say 10 million to 40 million, 50 million, the smallest one being $1 million. So it can be variable depending on how powerful quantum computer you want to buy. But SMEs cannot or might not want to invest so much into it. So they can access it over cloud through IBM and AWS or through IQM, my former employer. So there are many cloud services where you can run your own algorithm for 1 hour, maybe spend about $2,000, 3,000, come back again, work on your lab, and then go back and again on a cloud quantum, again rerun your algorithm. So we see a lot of SMEs interested in quantum, more on the AI and more on the security side at this point. Maybe crypto is the third one, less on the others at this point.
So which means that currently SME probably are able to tap on the platform provider rather than owning a quantum technology or computer. Am I right to say that?
That is right to say, and but that's also the equivalent of what we do today, right? Like none of us own a supercomputer. Like not many SMEs own a supercomputer, but we do share resources with accessing a supercomputer which is available at a national level. In Singapore, there is a supercomputer available, and same thing where in every other country there are supercomputers which SMEs can buy a time share of. And the same thing you can do is also in terms of data center. None of us own our own data center as SME. We own a rack in a data center. Similarly, it's a shared time that you use on a cloud platform for quantum.
So which means that whatever are using the platform, we are also feeding quantum computer in terms of their knowledge and database and make them even smarter as time goes by.
So so now I think you are again bringing in too many points. So quantum computer is just a machine. It's a computer. It runs differently. It's more powerful and so on. So you don't make a quantum computer smarter. Even in classical, you don't make a computer smarter. You make the algorithm smarter. So the AI is the algorithm that becomes smarter. So even in a quantum algorithm, the algorithm you'll keep optimizing it. That's why they keep using this for 1 hour and then go back into their lab and then they work on it and then they execute it again, because you optimize the algorithm and you are not storing data on a quantum computer. Data is still stored in your data center. So you are running an algorithm so you have data which you always had. You have an algorithm. Let's assume let's call it new algorithm, which is quantum algorithm. It is new algorithm, and you have powerful systems. So the same data run with a new algorithm on a powerful system will give better results for you.
So in simple terms, is there any difference in terms of AI and quantum technology aside from speed?
Yeah, many. Because AI is just, I think AI is one part of computing, right? So artificial intelligence is just one part of how you are using computers right now. And same way, there will be quantum algorithms that can help you with quantum AI. Now the industry is divided whether it is real or not, but let's accept for the fact, for the interest of this podcast, that yes, AI can be made faster, better, smarter by quantum AI using quantum computers, because there will be totally different algorithms. But the other stuff, if you look at optimization problems, simulation problems, and others that we discussed, they're not AI. They are algorithms that you're running on a quantum computer. So there are different algorithms. Even today, not every code that you run on a system is AI. Like on a computer, we still run the regular codes to look at the security in a Changi airport. That is a regular code. Or to detect fraud detection on a in a financial sector, we run a classical code. It is not AI. So we should not consider that everything that we do today is AI. Yes, AI as a layer on top of it, like fraud detection, maybe with adding a bit of AI, can make it even faster. So I would say it's a topping, cherry on the top kind of a thing. So it's a topping on the dessert, but your primary codes are still valid, and that will also be valid for quantum. It'll just be different. Did it help? Like, did it make sense?
Well, that's very interesting. And we know that currently AI has replaced quite a number of roles in a company. And sorry to say this, that we have quite a number of massive retrenchment from quite a number of MNC as well. Do you think that with quantum technology that add on to it, we will have more job loss in the near future?
If you want a breaking news and a marketing message for this podcast, we should do that. But no, yeah, I don't think I'm an optimist, I would say, and I've seen also different disruptive technologies come into the market for the last
Mm.
20 years in my lifetime. I would say yes, there is going to be readjustment of jobs. So I think what we are seeing with the retrenchments, yes, it is because of AI, but there's also an overload from the COVID time when a lot of recruitment had happened with the remote working. So we are seeing the economics being readjusted based on multiple factors: COVID, the current geopolitical situations in many different parts of the world, and the introduction of AI. All three of them had a knee-jerk reaction or immediate reaction on the number of roles. That's why you see it reducing. There is a contribution because of AI that the number of roles are reducing. I accept that. But what is the readjustment that's going to happen? If you look at an announcement from IBM, I think it was a month ago. IBM is a champion in AI. If you remember, IBM Watson has been like early adopters of AI. To quantum, IBM is also a leader in quantum. Now, if you look at their announcement, I think a couple of years ago, they did say that AI would replace many of the jobs. But last month, they said that they're going to hire more engineers than before now. So they just made an announcement. It's a public release. So all your listeners should actually go out and look at it, saying IBM is going to hire more AI engineers and engineers for AI. Now, I might be misquoting it a bit, but it's the overall just is that they're hiring more engineers now. And the reason is they say that the roles have redefined. Now they want better engineers to use AI and implement better solutions for the customers, because the customers in the end are looking for industries problem, like their problems to be solved. And AI is just a technology. You need to still implement it. You need to still make the maximum out of that particular problem as a solution. And that, I think, you will still need engineers and smart people to do it. But the thinking has to be different. It's like, again, I'm a bit old, maybe your listeners will be younger, but 25 years ago, if someone said you need to go online, search for a solution, people would not know what is Google, how do I search? They would be lost. Prior to that, my parents and so on would have gone to library, looked at book and come up with a solution. So adopting internet was a big thing for them, but then the solutions are so fantastic now. Similarly, you'll see AI being adopted and new kinds of solutions being built. So I am more of an optimist.
It sounds like in the future role of whatever employee they are in, they are more towards like a executor from the answer provided by the technology.
Partly, yes, but they need to be
Mhm.
smarter. So I'll tell you the risk. I'll tell you why
Mhm.
I am concerned that the jobs might go away. Because,
Mhm.
because of AI, like you and I
Mhm.
use AI, right? Like Joe has just given an
Mhm.
example where he has used it. Now, if Joe has a result from Claude about what quantum is, now if Joe does not know to challenge it for some particular point where it has been written, maybe it has factually quoted it wrong for whatever reason. If Joe doesn't know where to look at it and he takes it as a holy grail saying this is true, then a Raghu here who has been working in quantum becomes a person who has become wrong. Now, Raghu could be wrong. So I'm not saying I'm always right. But this point where who is right, what is right data, and this for every role. Now imagine an engineer who uses some kind of a AI to generate the code. If they don't know where the problem is, where the mistake is, and if they're not able to spot it, then there will be a problem. So you still need functional experts, but now we will be challenged even more that you need to know your subject matter exceptionally well, because you are not just competing with your peer, but you're competing with a tool which may or may not be right all the time.
I think you make a very good point because it's always to challenge it. So you're using AI to help you learn, but you still need to fact find, you still need to make sure that you deepen your skill sets. That's how
Correct.
you become more valuable. A lot of people out there, I think what happens is that they just take wholesale, whatever GPT or Gemini, they just take it wholesale and then they use it as holy grail.
Correct. So
Then
I'll tell
then
you
that's
I'll tell
that's
you a
really
few more
very bad.
examples. I'll tell you a few more examples. I know I speak to a lot of job seekers who keep approaching saying, how do I navigate the career? What do I do next? How do I find the job? And so on. Many guys, like most of the job aspirants today, they go online, they copy paste the job ad, they put their profile, and they ask ChatGPT to change it or any of the LLMs to change it. They will get a new CV, they'll send it out. They will not even proofread whether the output which has come out is valid or not. That is the first thing. Second thing is the language becomes difficult. And then, so there are many such problems, right? Like your own CV, which you use to hunt for a job where you are looking for a high paying job. The only task you're doing is copy pasting a job description and an CV and expect the output to be valid. And then they sit and say, why am I not getting shortlisted? That, in my opinion, is lazy. So there is no, now I think all the lazy options that we were taking, or the path in corporate world, which some of us might have taken, that would be called out now because of the AI and the introduction of AI.
I'm thinking about the future role of human being, even for leader as well. And with the quantum technology that step into the next era, will leadership role be affected?
It will, and it's a topic which is very close to my heart. I've also done an MBA in
Mm.
people management, so very, very close. I'll tell you how I see it. If you search again for a Finland company called Tieto, Tieto, in 2015, 2016, when I was there, I was part of
Mm.
working there. We had a AI leadership team member called Alicia T. So there was a program called Alicia T. I think it was in 2018. Maybe I might be misquoting the time, but it could be around 2018 that there was a Alicia T, which was a AI member which was announced. There's a press release around it, and we tried it. So there was a computer in the room in a leadership team which used to listen to the leadership team discussions. And I'll tell you why it is interesting. It didn't the I think the overall this initiative itself it evolved, and then now I don't know what is the current status. But many of us are discussing this AI and the role of leaders. I would say what will happen is leaders are very short-term focused. Like if you are incentivized for profits, you will only make decisions based on profits. Tomorrow, if there is a new CEO and then or you are the new CEO, you come up and say we look at growth, then you will forget all about profitability and you will focus on investment into growth. Then there could be a new board might decide a new CEO and they will say consolidation. Then you'll suddenly look at operational efficiency and mergers and acquisitions. So leadership has always been based on one, a vision. Few companies have it and visionary leaders, but most of the times it's defined by the board and the short term or the near term goals. And then the initiative that you take across the company changes. In the new way, what will happen is you will see a lot more leaders or leadership challenged by AI in the leadership meeting. So what can happen is the AI might be a best friend where it might say, hey, this kind of a reorg was done 3 years ago. It was unsuccessful because of so and so reasons. So it might become very good tool to capture what has happened in the history of the company over the last say 10 or 20 years, because most of the times in corporate what happens is sales and marketing will be together, new leader comes in, sales and marketing will be separate, or there might be R&D under CTO office, they'll move into a different function. So most of these boxes are done cyclical in every 3 to 5 years, but AI might start challenging, capturing this data, capturing the insights, capturing reasons saying why it didn't work. And then it might give a new initiative saying, hey, if you still want to do a global expansion, maybe start from Singapore, not maybe another country, or maybe something else. So maybe AI can become one of those sounding boards where it captures all the learnings. That's how I see the role of leadership and AI in the future.
How far do you see into your future for your company?
With RAQS Quantum,
Yes, correct.
see, I can say two answers. As a startup, I'm looking at tomorrow morning because the
Okay.
startup has to survive for the next day. But as a growth startup with ambition, and I also have some experience, I'm looking at the next 20, 25 years. Yeah, this is a place where I think I'll build a fantastic company, solving problems for enterprises and looking at new solutions.
Now, in
Mm.
matter of fact, I see a lot of possibility for quantum technology. And I have a question for Joe instead of Rahul. Now, Joe he has been the leadership coach all the while. And I hear you about the technology that really affect leadership in times to come. And maybe because of the consistency probably is not there. Yeah. So, Joe, now you hear
Mm.
Raghu have explained on the technology itself and what it can do. Do you think that there's a need for you to change the syllabus for your leadership coaching?
I think yes, you have to move with
Mm.
times, but at the same time, a lot of the leadership principles they are time tested and proven. So the fundamentals don't change that much. But what needs to be changed, right, is that the adaptation or adapting to new technologies. Yeah. So last time when we do consulting, it's like we ask the CEOs or the bosses, the MDs to look at a time frame of 10 years. Yeah. But nowadays, I think just look at the next quarter.
Okay. Now, back
And
to Rahul. Yeah, I'm just
maybe I can
curious.
also maybe I can also add to Joe if I mind. Like I also agree that the leadership principles like
Mm.
emotional intelligence, relationship building, the communication, the strong communication, all of those authentic communication, authentic leadership, servant leadership styles, like depending on where you are, which leadership style you use, or what personality traits you have. I think these are all valid and these will be valid. Where it might be challenged more is if a leader starts using AI for communication, which makes everything consistent, like your leadership keynote, if it is same as mine and if it is same as Joe's, then there will be a problem because the employees would know that it's a AI writing it. And employees might start demanding authenticity. So that is where I think the great leaders of future will be authentic leaders. But this has also been in the past. If you pick any great leader in the past, they've all been authentic, they've all been available. So I think it will
I think in
continue.
different phases also, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Because during challenging time, you cannot just, I become a very collaborative leader kind of thing.
Correct.
Sometimes you just need to make a decision and go, right?
Correct. Correct.
But the
Yeah.
nature of the question that I asked all this mainly because we heard about the news where the Japanese lady who married to AI, kind of thing, instead of the real human. Yeah. And that's what prompted me to lead to thinking about like, will all this technology replace human leadership one day instead of us leading, probably will become follower of all this technology leadership.
Wasn't there a TV series? I don't know if the name I can name her, if I'm not wrong. I've
Yeah,
not seen
this
it.
is a very good movie.
Yeah. A movie so where I think the person falls in love with the AI, but eventually the AI also says maybe I love you too, and then the question eventually comes up, how many of people are you chatting with right now? And the AI says maybe I have 30,000 people. So AI was in love with 30,000 at the same time, and then how would you react if you are loving someone and if that person is loving 30,000 at the same time? As a technology it is allowed to do it, but would you feel cheated? Will you accept it? So I understand where we are going. I think AI might become quite more conversational, will be a friend in many cases. But again, it's a tool. We also need to be scared. Like I have two young kids, 11 year and 7 year, and they all at this point say, why don't we use a chat GPT? Why don't we ask a AI? Why don't we ask Alexa? So I am quite scared because I want them to think. I want them to discover. I want them to learn these things. I don't want them to be spoon fed. And that is my biggest worry right now, saying maybe it will, like, technology should be a enabler, technology should be a support,
Enabler.
technology cannot be the driver.
Yeah. So, Rahul, I'm reading this book now. It's called The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. Yeah, I think I really recommend for all parents to read it. Yeah, because they really talk about um the so-called children growing up with technology, right, with their smartphones, right? It's really detrimental to how their brain is being wired. Yeah. So highly recommended. Yeah, it's like it's a page turner, and it's like, wow. I think governments should come together to put in some policies now to stop our children from using technology in school also.
I knew that I will learn something from this podcast, so this book is definitely going into my reading notes very soon.
Yes,
Fantastic.
going along the line, I would say that why is that the millennium behave so differently? Which I come across some statements shared by among the group of business owner. They found that Generation X probably they are more focused in their job and so on, and millennials seem to have a more short-term focus and attention on certain things. But the surprise part is that they can do a lot of multitasking as compared to the previous generation. And all thanks to technology. Yeah, so this is something that is puzzle us. We like multitasking, especially for SME owner. Yeah, but somehow or rather, it is something that we also don't feel comfortable with when we talk to millennial. Why? Because they are so multitasking that they can talk to you and they can actually look at their handphone and answer at the same time. You get what I
Is that a
mean?
good thing? Is that a good thing?
So technology is something a bit puzzle right now that we're still wondering whether is it going to do good, to human mankind, or is it going to worsen and make us much dependent to more technology.
Mm.
But anyway, this topic that probably we is not for this today discussion. I have something
No, you
much
see
more.
now, we have shorter attention span than goldfish now.
But the key thing is this, right? I'm just more curious about the Finland quantum technology as compared to all others service provider and other countries. So what make Finland quantum technology stand out?
Well, that's a very nice one. I like the first one, which I think I referred to also earlier, was they've been investing into quantum R&D for a long, long time. So it's been there since 90s, the first research center that came out. And Finland has always been good with advanced technologies. So if you pick out any,
Mhm.
sorry, if you pick out any technology, right from mobile technology, mobile communications, and then also marine technology. So Finland and these Scandinavian countries have been very, very good at it. And that continues also with quantum. That's one. Investments, R&D, have access to good engineers, and also the European ecosystem. I would say Europe, US, and even to an extent China, they have all been investing into quantum R&D for many decades. And now what you see is an output from the investments that they have done. The second thing maybe is a small country. It's similar to Singapore, very ambitious. It becomes a matter of survival, right? These kind of breakthroughs. So quantum is a technology which I think the country has invested in and adopted. And third one is the superconducting quantum computers. One type of quantum computers requires something called dilution fridges. And dilution refrigerators are actually one of the leaders is Blue Force, which is a Finland company. So there are many such reasons. The R&D investment, access to talent, small country, being part of the European ecosystem. And then also the last one, you see that companies have spun out of these R&D centers and they have started commercializing it way before others. That makes Finland as one of the leading ecosystems. There are few more. I would say even Singapore is actually quite good. The access to talent is really good. What we don't see is enough startups at this point in time. Switzerland is quite good. Netherlands is good. US is definitely very good.
Yeah, I heard of that Finland have been quite on top of technological advancement, but Finland is also very, very low profile in all their
Correct.
achievements.
Correct.
And talking about Finland, I would say that it's a very quiet country because Rahul just shared with me that even a drop of nail, you can hear very clearly in his house. And that,
Serious.
yeah, I'm impressed. Right? Asian country, we are very noisy, I would say. Yeah. And sometimes, be honest, all right, a drop of nails, we don't even realize. So since we are along talking about Finland, might share with us a little bit more about the beauty of Finland?
Yeah, how many years have you been there?
16 years, 15 plus.
Oh,
Yeah.
it must be a big decision for you to uproot and
But
move over
coming
to
to
Singapore.
Singapore, right? So it's still okay. Singapore is a good, I would say, mix of Asia and then also Western country. Oh, so then we have 1 more hour for our podcast, right?
Mm.
Ben, if you ask me a question about Finland, I can
Mm.
keep going on for the next hour. Let's try. Let's give it a shot, right? It deserves attention. I think Finland is a very small country, somewhere in the north, can go up to minus 20 degrees. So it's quite cold. So if you accept that the nature, the weather-wise, it's extreme, most of the world is extreme. So if you go to some other place, you would hit a 50 degrees heat. Here it is cold. But once as human beings, as Asians especially, we are very adaptable. We accept environment easily. If we go through that, then what makes Finland so beautiful is one, respect for individuals, respect for nature. And these are not words that are just spoken, but it's seen in everyday life. They do follow the philosophy that leave no one behind. So basically, if a student in a class is not performing well, in Asia mainly, or in US, where we look at competition, we look at like who is the topper. In Finland, they will look at the lowest, the weakest student, and they try to bring them to the average. So the teacher will specially push it. I've seen it with my kid in a swimming class and so on. He was not interested, but others had one teacher, and my kid had one teacher just to bring him to the average, and now he thrives. But that same kid, if he would not have been pushed by the teacher, focused on it, then he would have just not learned swimming at all. And like that, many things. Your penalties for driving offenses, for example, if you earn more, it's proportional to your salary. So if you overspeed 20 kilometers, you have earned say $1 million. Your penalty could be $100,000. While for say student, for the same mistake of overspeeding, it could be maybe $200 fine. So it's proportional to your salary. And the top people who earn more than 150,000 euros or something similar, it gets published in a newspaper. All the salaries are published in a newspaper. So of people who earn more than 150K. So it's a very equal society which believes in transparency. Imagine on November 1st Sunday of every November, first Sunday, it's a occasion where everyone is looking at newspapers because all the salaries of people who have earned more than 150K gets published in a physical newspaper, including your
And you're inside
capital
also, right?
including your capital gains, including your salary. So next time, if your manager says, sorry, we don't have the budget, but if you know that your manager has an increment, then you can challenge him saying, hey, dude, you have earned 10% more, but why don't I get it? So these are things that you can actually track. And then this is like, think about a society which is penalizing you proportional to your salary, publishing the salaries transparently, having this kind of access to nature. You can just keep walking and free. And there are a lot of things I can go on about it. Maybe one last thing, honesty is very highly respected. So a verbal agreement, like if I've said something, it is held. If I'm not wrong, it's legally bound. But I've never had a verbal agreement gone back saying, no, I have a better offer. If I have said, hey, yes, we will work together, that means it is, yes, we will work together. So I personally have grown as a leader. I've transformed as a leader, I would say, in my own eyes, having lived there because that's the kind of values I would want the entire world to have, not just one country.
Fantastic.
Interesting. Yes, I think Finland definitely is a beautiful country for sure.
I'm going to put it
And
in my bucket list to visit Finland.
Maybe to live. If you visit, there are more
Ah,
beautiful countries than Finland. But if you
okay.
want to live they also have a 100-day Fin program. For 100 days, they give you accommodation, they give you visas. I think they help you also work, if I'm not wrong, where they want
Nice.
to try out. It's a freemium model. So Finland invests in foreign talent to come and live in Finland for 100 days, including for your family and so on. They help you with the relocation, the flights and so on, for you
Yes.
to just come and try Finland.
wow, that sounds great.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's called 100 Days Fin, FIN.
Wow. We'll wait until one day when we become the talent that hopefully Finland and government will want to acquire us to be there. Probably by then the 100 day become 100 years old for us already. Hey, but then I'm just very curious about one thing in Finland is that what is the business opportunity if we are going to, collaborate with Finland?
I'd say it's a tough one. Local
Mhm.
language is Finnish, but English is quite well spoken, so businesses do
Mm,
run on English. And like in many other countries now, the nationalistic agenda is there, so they want to make
mm.
in Finland, hire more locals. Let's accept that that's part of every country is going through that. If you take that aside, then Finland is one of the fantastic gateways to enter into Europe. Because if you succeed in Finland, the moment, right? We were like Ben and I connected on a over a Finnish Chamber of Commerce dinner. Now imagine that if I come to you and you said that, oh, Finland, and then let's have this podcast. So Finland has that positive affinity towards it. Many people know Angry Birds, Rovio, and then Nokia, Kone Elevator.
Yeah.
So there's a very positive affinity towards Finland, Finnish people, and technology. So if you enter through Finland, Finland also has good agencies similar to Enterprise Singapore and EDB who help you set up in Finland. After that, you can succeed in Europe. If you have succeeded in Finland, you can take that flag and go everywhere else saying, hey, we are in Europe, we are from Finland, and then it will be a good door opener. So, are there business opportunities? Yes. Technology, definitely yes. But if you're looking at a domestic market, like can I go and sell into Finland? Then you will need to have a good product market fit. Otherwise, you will maybe fail. But if you are using Finland as a gateway to sell to maybe UK, Germany, Netherlands, Switzerland, and so on, I think it might be a good logical step.
Or services that we can open up the door for Finland to, other part of Asia region, right?
Yes. So there is a other way, yeah, services we can definitely look at it.
Mm.
So we can become the bridge between, if you look at it from a bridge of Asia to Finland, that I think there are many more opportunities. Or Asia to Europe, there are bigger opportunities.
Interesting. Okay, now, if you don't mind, we spend a little bit more time to share about one very interesting topic that I think Joe would definitely love to hear about, which is that how do you define Finland leadership?
Authentic servant leadership.
Mm,
Uh, Now, what do I mean by it, right? Let's look at all three words. Authentic, as I said, I have worked there under different managers and different bosses. Verbal, like verbal, a word said
mhm.
means. If there's no how's the weather, fantastic. They would say, how's the weather? Good or okay. So that's the answer you will get. You will never get an exaggerated answer. That's because that is the way it is. It's a gloomy -20. Why would you come out and say, oh, it's fantastic, right? Some people might say it's beautiful because it's a lot of snow, but they will be very authentic, and that you will see everywhere. So, as I said, authentic servant leadership. Authentic, I think there is authenticity in everything that they do. Office politics is very minimal or even not existent because people are not looking at excel like the race is not to be on the top. The race is to take the team together because that is what is inculcated in schools. If you are a low performer, you are brought to average. If you are a low taxpayer, a low income earner, you pay less taxes. High income earner will pay high taxes. And they understand that that's the way the responsibility is. That's authentic. Servant leadership is because I've worked with many different, again, Finnish managers. They don't expect me to write notes. They don't expect me to follow up meeting minutes. They don't expect me to set up the meetings and so on. They would do it on their own. So most of my managers, they are the ones who are taking notes in a meeting. I've seen one example is I was a very young graduate. I was at Nokia at that time. I got down the elevator at around 6 o'clock from India. I had just moved to Finland, was enjoying large, big campus. I come down, I see a single guy walking with a suitcase. At 6 o'clock, usually most of them leave office at 4:30. So I was curious. I was just standing and seeing who is walking. Again, being curious, coming from India. So looking at this person walking and slowly he comes closer. Then I realized it was Nokia CEO, Oli-Pekka Kalasuo. At that time, Nokia CEO. And he just walks in silently, goes past, like exits the door, opens his own door, car door, sits in the car and goes away. And he was not surrounded by three or four managers, others who have time to get his attention. I've also worked in many large US companies and other like Asia. I worked in different work environments. There will never be a 30, $40 billion company at that time, CEO of that company, walking alone in a corridor which is about maybe 3 minutes long. That would never happen. And that shows servant leadership that They'll be there. I've seen a former prime minister stand in the same security queue as me, next to me, for about 1 hour just to board a flight, like a former prime minister of the country. And that these things don't happen often. Like there's a famous meme about Finnish president Niinisto. At that time, he won the presidency. And then the second day after being elected as a president, he goes and he's shoveling his snow. Shoveling snow of like, why would you do it? Right? Like in most of the places, you would not be doing it. Current president of Finland, he is very well known to run Ironman challenges and so on, participate in them, and is still there available for people. So I think I can go on with many such examples at work as well as in society. The great
Do you
authentic.
think you are intending to relocate back to Finland in the near future?
I think also it's an adopted home. Yeah, like Singapore is adopted home. Finland is even more, as you can hear from me. But what I would say is maybe I would want to replicate the Finnish values in other parts of the world. That is what makes. So I keep complaining to my Finnish colleagues that the Finnish leadership style is one of the world's best kept secrets. Because most of the Finns, they want to go back and live in Finland because it is so perfect. But the world will be a better place if more Finns come and live in elsewhere in other parts of the world. So I would rather say we should encourage more Finns to come down 100-day Finn program for them to come and spend that time in every other part of the world so that the world becomes a better place.
You know, the way you explain the leadership of Finland, and it just come to my mind that probably there are two things that it happened in Finland, which is number one, it's a very safe country. So you don't need any security officer or bodyguard, to protect the minister and so on, which we have quite a number of bodyguards whenever you see the minister going around. Yeah. And second thing of all is that I think deep in their mind is that I'm just performing a role. Aside of that, I'm just like you. Yeah. So it's nothing that okay, aside when I out of office, I will still, assume the role of whatever they are in office. So it's different kind of mindset, I would say, that what the Finnish are having as compared to other part of the country.
Not spot on. And maybe I don't know if you have followed the news 3, 4 years ago.
Mm.
Finnish Prime Minister at that time, now former Prime Minister, Sanna Marin, about 35, 36-year-old at that time. So she, like at that time, the current Prime Minister at that point in time, she leaves the phone, the work phone at home and goes to a club in an evening, which any 35-year-old will do. So she carried a personal phone. She had a deputy assigned in case there was an emergency and so on. But then she went on in a evening to a regular club, dancing with her friends, having a good evening out, and then go back to work later. And this is things that blows your mind away, right? You don't see these kind of examples, or it will become a controversy. It did become internet controversy later, but I would say it is accepted, saying, yeah, I am also a 35-year-old. I also want to go out with my friends. So there's nothing wrong doing that. And that I think is fantastic. And that can only happen, yeah, when you said the system itself allows that kind of safety. Maybe in Maslow's hierarchy, again in the leadership style, you need to be at the self-actualization phase, the top of the pyramid, to be able to do all of this. Your basic needs are met, all the other needs are actually met. That you are just only living because for the pure joy of living does not mean that there are not other problems. There are problems in the society. There will always be. But then if we are talking about the problems after having this kind of a society, then I would say those are just problems that should be able to be addressed faster.
I think, Joe, we should organize an A-Boss podcast, invite all our guests as a group to go to Finland and visit them to learn the
Oh,
leadership, yes, and their
sounds like a
mindset.
plan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I
sounds
think they
like a
could.
plan. Can
So
we all go there and stay
Ben
there
has
for
met the
100
Finnish
days?
ambassador to Singapore, and Ambassador Juha Markkanen will be extremely happy if you go and propose this to him.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. It sounds very interesting to me. And seriously, I also like to learn the leadership and how you guys actually run company in Finland. Yes, it's definitely going to be very different compared to how we run business over here. Yeah. Okay. So before we end the topic, do you have anything to add on?
maybe on Finland, I would say two examples, which again I can also recommend something for you to follow, would be on Hintsa performance, HINTSA. Hintsa
Okay.
performance. This is the coaching methodology for Formula One drivers.
Hmm.
So I think Aki Insa, if I'm not wrong, Ako or Aki Insa, Finnish person who trained
Okay.
Formula One leader champions on taking care of their health and how to manage all the both the mental and the physical side to avoid jet lags and so on. So it's a beautiful book from them, Insa
Okay.
Performance. You should definitely look at that one. And second
All
one
right.
is it's not surprising for me that Aarti Sari, the former again Prime Minister of former leader of Finland, and he is very well known for peace negotiations and so on across the world because of, I think, all these values that we talk about from Finland. So also in the leadership style, when you look at it, there are many such leaders who have been out of the Finnish system and who have done exceptionally well across the world.
Thank you so much for
Awesome.
sharing. Yeah. Actually, where can people find you, Raghu?
Ooh, and they can find me everywhere online. Yeah, I'm quite active on Twitter as well as on LinkedIn.
Twitter.
So I go
Okay.
by the name Raghunath Kodvayur. That's my full name.
All right.
And yeah, which can be seen on the screen right now under my display image. Yeah, I'm
It's
doing
okay.
I
it.
think I will put it on the show notes now. So Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, probably.
Insta, Twitter, LinkedIn, yeah, all three work really well. I'm
Okay.
quite active there, maybe to an extent where I would want to reduce it a bit. But yeah, I'm very, very available, quite available there, and happy to always meet new people, learn about new experiences, and hopefully also grow as an individual together.
Cool,
Fantastic.
cool, cool. Really glad to have you here today to explain quantum technology and how we are able to apply quantum technology in future. But nevertheless, the future is yet to tell. We do not know what kind of impact that this new technology is going to create for the economy. But it's definitely going to create impact.
At least McKinsey and BCG both have said it will be anywhere between 1 trillion to 2 trillion, 2 trillion with a T economy is the value by 2035, 2040. So in the next 10 to 15 years, it could be anywhere between 1 to 2 trillion, which is almost 50% of the AI economy. So it is a big economic potential. So if you are a business leader listening to this podcast, I would say that the time to get started on quantum was yesterday. The next best time is today.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Okay.
I think you are on the right track this time because AI you started a little bit too early. I think quantum right now is like, wow.
Okay. Let's write on it, Joe.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, okay. I think it's about time for us to call it a day. And thank you very much for joining us, Raghu. We will leave a contact at the end of the show. Okay, nevertheless, we just hope that everyone who have any more questions and looking into collaboration opportunities with content technology, do contact Rahul from RAQS. Oh, so sorry, I forgot to ask you one important question. What does RAQS stand for?
At least at this point, real applications, quantum solutions. So, because everyone was thinking quantum was more academic, so we said we will focus on real applications using quantum solutions. So that's how it started. Yeah. So that's what RAQS Quantum stands for.
Fantastic. Good naming.
Okay, cool. Now we hope that all our audience enjoy the show. So till the next time, yeah, we'll see you again.
And remember to subscribe to our channel.
Yep.
Thank you,
Okay,
everyone.
Bye.
thanks guys. Thanks,
Bye.
Rahul. All right.